From my vantage, I was the threat actor. I was recruiting vulnerable insiders to give me their secrets, to commit treason. And now I could help companies, I can help individuals, I can help families be better prepared.
In special operations, we were looking at someone like Abu Z and targeting his security team. And now I'm the bodyguard, but I learned a lot about how to be a better security professional from being the person that was countering it offensively.
I'm Shawnee Delaney. I spent years undercover as a Defense Intelligence Agency case officer.
And I'm Tyler Gray. I served as a U.S. Army Ranger sniper, as well as an assaulter in an elite Tier 1 counterterrorism unit. This is Control Room.
So we should probably explain what this is. What is Control Room?
I think what we are most excited about is the ability to share our expertise, our knowledge, our mistakes, right? And learn from these incredible experts in cybersecurity from all different walks of life.
We're going to teach counter, spy things to non-spies. And people go, why? Why do we need anti-spy techniques? And the answer is very simple. Because you're being spied on. To scam somebody 50 years ago, you had to scam them face to face. Maybe through the mail, things like that. But now the ability to scam with impunity with digital privacy, for lack of a better term, is just really changed the game, and we need to make people more aware of it and how to protect themselves and their families.
We want to help families protect themselves. We want to help the country protect itself. There are a lot of different nuances and a lot of different layers that are necessary. Is
really taking lessons that we've learned, sometimes through education,
or the hard way.
Other times the hard way. I say I'm an expert in failure. I'm really good at it. I've learned a lot of things the hard way, which on one hand is can be frustrating, but at the other hand, I have a lot of things I've learned experientially, and so I'm happy to be able to put them out and talk about them, so that others hopefully don't fall into the same pitfalls I did. It takes understanding offense to educate defense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right? You've probably never heard a spook say this, but I am here for this show to be open, to be honest, to be vulnerable. I want people to learn from my mistakes. I want people to learn from how I used to manipulate people and deceive people, because the only way that we can raise awareness and have people make better choices to combat all of these threats is by doing that.
Right. So on that note, tell me a little bit about your background.
I used to work in espionage. So I was a clandestine services officer, a case officer with the Defense Intelligence Agency. I was CIA trained. I ran clandestine operations all over the world. I had a blast.
Now, real quick, I want to throw this out there. I know, but in case you don't know, what is the primary difference between the Central Intelligence Agency and the Defense Intelligence Agency?
That's a really great question. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people have never heard of DIA.
DIA, yeah.
I lovingly refer to it as the Discount Intelligence Agency. So DIA, our mission, we're under the Department of Defense. Our mission is to protect the warfighter. I was protecting you, essentially. And we did all sorts of intelligence collection. They have analysts, they have human intelligence collectors like me, and we travel around the world trying to get intelligence from governments, from all different sorts of entities, to make sure that our armed forces are always protected.
So would it be a fair thing to say that the DIA is the CIA of the military?
Yeah. Okay. Essentially, yeah.
I actually just made that. I didn't know if that was actually true.
Yeah, but like I said, we go through the same training.
Yeah.
Actually, the suit that I'm wearing is the suit that I actually wore when I graduated from the farm. The farm is the spy school, basically. It's a nickname that we call the school where we get our tradecraft training in. I have not worn this suit since the day I walked across that stage.
From now on, I'm going to call that your spy suit.
It is my spy suit.
So
yes,
there
absolutely.
You go. That's its new nickname.
Yeah, it still fit in. I'm very excited.
That's a win in your adult life. There was a movie, Happy Gilmore. He was talking about fantasy. Happy Gilmore 2, actually. Fantasies when you're an adult, and it's like he pulls up this suit pants and it says medium, and he's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. What were you doing before the DIA?
Oh, I did a lot. I got a master's degree in counterterrorism, counterproliferation. I worked at Disneyland. I mean, I worked at the Gap. I worked at a bar. I've literally done, I think, every job on the planet.
Did the counterterrorism, was that prerequisite to working at Disneyland? How does that go together? Was that prior? Were you working at Disneyland while you were working on your degree?
No, Disney was when I was getting my undergrad.
Okay.
But what's interesting, and just thinking about it, I was on such a mission. I'm a very mission-driven person, and I know you could relate.
I have a massive theory on that.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
So I was on this mission to get hired. I wanted to be an intelligence officer. And so every job I had, be it Disneyland or working in a bar, I absorbed everything I could to help make me a better spy.
Okay, well, you set this up, so I got to ask. What did you learn working at Disneyland that helps you be a better spy?
Oh my gosh, that actually helped me more than anything.
Really?
Yeah. Disney has something called Disney University, and they train you in customer service and kindness and...
AKA spying.
Yeah, they kill them with kindness. There's a lot of parenting hacks here, by the way, in espionage and cybersecurity. Kill them with kindness. When someone has had a bad day, or they're angry, or they're hot and they're tired, kill them with kindness. And it works. And so when I was meeting with terrorists, leaders of countries...
Wait, are we still at Disneyland?
No.
Okay,
no.
Sorry,
No.
my bad.
I mean, you're meeting with all different kinds of people. And as a human, I learned how to relate to anybody, even when they're at their worst. And that was all courtesy of Disney. So when I was at DIA, when I finally got hired, I was able to do 4 combat zone tours. I did 2 to Iraq and 2 to Afghanistan. Best times of my life. Loved every second. Had too many near-death experiences. But what was interesting, at least to me, is being so mission-driven. Is my mission was to save lives, to protect people. And when I left DIA, like you're mentioning, and I transitioned into private sector, I had kind of this crisis of, I'm saving companies money. This is not a fulfilling mission, you know?
Yeah, well, that is...
I'm sure you can relate.
Yeah, that is actually something, and we'll talk about later, but in my book, I literally wrote about that almost exact hole that exists in your life. It's a lack, I mean, the way I refer to it is I call it a lack of purpose, or true purpose, you know, and so I actually talk quite a bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, you're spot on, though. And I think a lot of people who leave services like ours have that same sense.
I tell, talking about veterans, because that's kind of my alma mater for that matter, because I didn't go to college, but I say it all the time, like, you know, when you were in the military, you had such a definitive purpose, you had a very definitive identity, and you had a very definitive mission.
Right.
And then one day you get out, and the purpose is gone, the mission is gone, and the identity is gone along with it, as well as the community, the job. I mean, you move generally locations, and so you're experiencing all this loss at one time, you know, and then we're told it's, you know, it's one thing when really I think it's a lot of loss that we just mentioned.
Absolutely, yeah. I think overall, I'm very proud. I'm proud of what I've done. I know for a fact that I've saved lives. And like I said, when I had kind of that crisis of what am I doing now that I've left, when I found cybersecurity, and I realized that educating people and bringing awareness and helping people understand, from my vantage, I was the threat actor. I was recruiting vulnerable insiders to give me their secrets, to commit treason. And now I could help companies, I can help individuals, I can help families be better prepared to combat all of those threats that really, you know, are thrown at us. There's myriad threats. And so I almost feel a stronger sense of mission and purpose now. I feel like I'm making more of an impact now than when I was doing espionage.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah. So what prompted you to join the military?
Well, so for me, as a kid, you know, there's 2 things I wanted to do as a kid. I mean, very clear. And I'm talking, people have asked me all the time, you know, what made you join the military? That's a common question I've gotten in, let's say, interviews and something like that. And I always say this, and it's absolutely true. I don't feel like I ever honestly had a choice.
Really?
I don't. It just was something so innate
like
in
a calling?
me. Yeah, I mean, I hate to use that word, but yeah, I mean, it really wasn't a choice. It was just there from literally as far back as I could remember. The other thing I wanted to do was work in entertainment. I was a movie fanatic as a kid, and Star Wars or just movies. I just was obsessed, and so those were the two things I wanted to do. And I mean, I could show you photos. I used to wear camouflage every day to school. I used to, go, if I went to the air show, I mean, I would freak out. I'd like camp out there. And it was just what I wanted to do from as far back as I can remember. And to be honest, for a long time, I probably couldn't have answered how, let's say, my hyper-awareness related to the military. I wouldn't have put those together. Now I look back.
It's a gift.
And I actually, here's my answer now, knowing what I know now. I was obsessed with the movie First Blood. Rambo, right? Yeah. But not Rambo, First Blood. Very different two films, or three films, really. And so I was so obsessed with that character, and looking back now, I used to get picked on a lot as a kid, and I would get beat up and all those different things. I was a very, very, very aware, very sensitive kid, hyper aware. And so I think one of the reasons that I wanted to join the military was because I wanted to be tougher. I saw Rambo, and I saw the fear and the respect that the cops and the National Guard had, and I just saw that as if I was tough by Rambo, I wouldn't be in so much pain, so mentally, emotionally, really.
Did you always want to go into special operations?
100%. Okay. But I honestly, I think because of First Blood, I mean, I saw, he was a Green Beret, which that was the first time I'd ever heard of what a Green Beret was.
So can you explain what's the difference between special operations and special forces?
Yeah, this is a very confusing, they do not make it easy in the military to explain this. So special forces, technically, in reference to the U.S. military, technically means Green Berets. So special forces is U.S. Army Special Forces, AKA Green Berets. And so that was just always, that's just what I wanted to do. But I really think it was, I just wanted to be tougher than I was as a kid.
So how long were you in the military?
So almost, it was around 9 years.
Okay, so actually similar timing for both of us.
So I got medically retired. I got hurt over in Iraq. And I actually, so I was in the military before September 11th. I was actually a sergeant. I was a sniper team leader at the time when September 11th happened. And when September 11th happened, I re-enlisted for 6 years.
Wow.
And again, as horrible as the event and tragedy was, for me, I kind of saw it as, okay, now we're going to war, and I want to be a part of that. And so I re-enlisted for 6 years in Afghanistan. I started the re-enlistment and, how they wait till you get overseas. And so I went to Afghanistan as a sniper, as a sniper team leader. And kind of like what you just said about your trips, I enjoyed it. It was like living, if you think of Rambo, being in Vietnam, I had read every Vietnam book there was. I watched a show called Tour of Duty. I watched Platoon 10,000 times. Like for me, going to Afghanistan was the culmination of a lifelong dream of wanting to be that guy. I
totally get it. I totally get it. Yeah.
So as weird as it sounds probably for people, it's like, wait, you were in a war zone and you thought that was awesome? Yes, I did. And I remember getting to Kandahar. This is in...
Kandahar is not a nice place.
Well, this was in 2002, by the way. So really this is like, it was bananas. Yeah. And I remember getting there and looking around, and it was like Vietnam. Yeah. I mean, there was no infrastructure. So I actually, on that deployment, we pushed out to the Pakistani border. So I was part of building the first outstations on the Pakistani border. For me, it was the culmination of a dream. And that dream lasted, I deployed to Iraq. I was in Fallujah in 2004, which was, again, just like, World War II, kind of the things that were happening then. And then eventually on a deployment, I was doing a nighttime raid. And based on intel, not from you guys, but from the other guys, And I got, it was an HVT raid.
Was there an IED?
No, it was inside a house, and it was an Abu Z target, which I'm sure I can say, which was, we were only searching for him for like 5 years.
Forever.
So, and I was on a mission, and it was a nighttime raid, and we were in a house, and it was a pretty, bad situation. And I ended up, getting blown up in the house, blew my night vision goggles off, severed the arm pretty much. It was hanging by like skin. And I just remember thinking, I'll never forget the thought. I remember walking out of the house and thinking, man, I lost my right arm. And then I was like, man, you're going to be that I was thinking of Vietnam vets, like, you're going to be that vet with no arm. And I was like, wow, that was just a weird thought.
Yeah.
And I laid down, or sat down actually, and somebody got to me and ended up basically saving me. But unfortunately, that injury was a process of surgeries. And I mean, look, I was lucky to live. I was definitely lucky to keep my arm. So I'm not complaining, but it did lead to me ultimately getting medically retired from the military, which was really hard for me because I felt like I lost my destiny.
Well, that was your sole
goal.
goal.
That wasn't just my goal. It was, I lost who I felt I was, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
I was no longer able, another way to say it is, I was no longer able to be me.
Yeah. I can't even imagine how challenging that was to lose everything, like who you were. So what did you do after you left the military?
So after I got out, two things. So one was, the thing that I said that I wanted to do as a kid. I moved out west and started trying to work in the entertainment industry. Apparently, that takes a little bit of time to get into. So, my day job for it's funny. I actually call it's funny you say that because you didn't know this. I call my waiter job being a bodyguard because that's, you're doing another job while you're trying to break in. And so for me, really the only job, quite frankly, I was qualified to do, I would have made a horrible waiter or bartender, is that I worked as a security professional. And I was doing, EP, executive protection, security consulting, security assessments, really any and everything related to security.
So you're starting to kind of dabble now in the world and the realm that we're talking about here.
Absolutely. And again, it was my passion. So it was very organic for me. It was something I very much cared about. And so I was working for, high net worth individuals and, royalty and, all these different people, doing assessments on their home, doing, all these different, the irony is in the military, in special operations, we were looking at, someone like Abu Z and targeting his security team and going, all right, we're going to take those dudes out here. And now I'm the bodyguard going, wait a minute, I'm on the other shoe here. It's much more fun on the offensive side, right? But I learned a lot about how to be a better security professional from being the person that was countering it offensively for years. And so I developed a passion doing it for Fortune 100 companies and all these different things. And then that slowly evolved into being very passionate about trying to do it for, your average person and take those lessons and tricks, so to speak, that I learned from, doing it for wealthy families and individuals and corporations, and taking those tricks and being able to give them to individuals to better protect themselves and their families. And I'm so glad to be able to do this show with you because you have such a vast amount of experience in the spy game, for lack of a better term. And, as I said earlier, I just feel like scammers are really, if you really break it down, are running a traditional spy game that really, I just don't think it was possible, 50 years ago.
Tyler and I have both been on battlefields. We know our stuff. And we're incredibly honored to be able to take our knowledge and expertise and bring in some really amazing guests to help educate you and keep Americans safer. The new battlefield is online, and you are the target.
And it's time to learn how to fight back. This is Control Room.
Be sure to like and subscribe and leave comments. We would love to hear from you.
New episodes coming every week on LifeLock's YouTube channel.